Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about Mercury Retrograde in a natal horoscope. Now, as most of you know, Mercury is associated with communication, and when we look at Mercury, it is really, and we know it's ruled by Gemini. It rules over Gemini and Virgo. And when Mercury is retrograde, a lot of times what this indicates is that communication kind of is more internalized. It goes inside more. There might be thoughts that are suppressed that this person does not necessarily want to communicate aloud. If somebody has Mercury in Gemini and it's retrograde, now the person will often have the same qualities that are associated with Mercury in Gemini. Now, the person is apt to be articulate, verbose, be able to express himself more likely than not very fastly and easily, and be able to assimilate knowledge on various subjects and have a versatile mind. However, this person may have a little bit more reluctance in terms of wanting to express his or her thoughts. There might be a little bit more introverted side to the person that has this placement. This could be somebody that might take some time a little bit more. Someone has retrograde Mercury in terms of saying what they want to say. They might think things out maybe a little bit more thoroughly. What I guess I'm basically essentially saying is Mercury, regardless of sign, will have the same, you could say the same description, as opposed to even if the planet wasn't retrograde. It just, the speech might be a little bit more suppressed. This person may learn a little bit more methodically than the average person. If somebody, let's say a person had Mercury in Aries and it was retrograde, now Mercury in Aries can obviously be very blunt, forthright, and outspoken in their communication with others. But at the same time, the speech might be held back a little, and this person will, I believe, have these characteristics in terms of their way they communicate, but it won't come out maybe as frequently as if it was direct. A lot of times I think people have Mercury retrograde. This could be somebody that might sit down and maybe plot things out a little bit more. There might be a little bit more of a premeditative nature, thinking things out a little bit more thoroughly before acting upon their ideas. A retrograde Mercury can often indicate an indirect form of communication at times. It'd be like if, let's say, somebody was outside and they were spray painting their vehicle, and it was by my vehicle. I don't have one, but I'm using this as an example. And I might say something like, well, gee, it'd be nice if people that were spraying their paint would be careful not to get it onto other people's cars and make it without making. So that would be an example of maybe an indirect communication, not directly communicating with the person, but still conveying the message across. Now, over time, I mean, retrograde Mercury can sometimes, I believe, indicate. It can indicate maybe something that becomes prolonged or protracted, perhaps in terms of learning, things connected with a person studying, assimilating certain information. And if we look at this, it could indicate maybe delays in communication. Even if you look at if Mercury is retrograde by transit, this could indicate that communications are delayed. I believe, collectively among, as far as globally goes, but if somebody has it natally, it could indicate that maybe communications may be protracted a little more on average as opposed to somebody that has Mercury in retrograde direct. So really, that's pretty much it for Mercury retrograde. I don't have Mercury retrograde. I have Mercury in Cancer, And Mercury in Cancer obviously may like to talk about things that are nostalgic, reminisce about things pertaining to their past. But if I was to have it retrograde, I might still be able to do those things connected with Mercury in Cancer. However, I might take my time a little bit and think a little more before what I'm going to divulge or disclose to others regarding those matters that I would talk about connected with, you could say connected with family, so forth and so on. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for Mercury retrograde in the natal chart. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about Venus retrograde in the natal horoscope. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because a person astrologically is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.